Welcome, class, to this presentation on writing the research paper. One of the big assignments for English 102 is to complete a research project, a documented paper. One of the skills that you have to acquire at this level is how to do research. Zora Neale Hurston, who wrote Their Eyes Were Watching God, said this about research: it is formalized curiosity. It is poking and prying with a purpose. And so when we do research, we are trying to find out some more ideas about something we have read or we have studied, and to share the ideas we come up with others. And so that's what you will be doing. Probably the most challenging part of writing a research paper is finding a researchable topic, because you have an assignment limit, word count. And so you want to make sure that the topic is not too big, neither is it too small, but it's just right. And one of the ways to start is to ask the research question. What are you interested in finding out more about? What topic piques your interest? We've studied in this English class fiction, poetry, drama. What do you want to find out more about? You ask yourself a question, and that will be your research question. Hopefully, because this is a short semester, I'll be helping you by giving out some topics so that if those are of interest to you, you can follow. But still, you have to find out the genre that you are interested in. Now, the sources that we use in writing research in literature are divided into two. The first we call primary source, and a primary source has to do with with an original document. The short story, the play, the poem, speeches, whatever it is that somebody produced originally is your primary source, and all of you will have a primary source. And then the second set of sources that all of you will have to will be the secondary sources. What have other people written about this primary document that you are going to research about? And I want you to come up with a maximum of 4 sources, secondary sources, for the topic that you are writing. If you add your original source, you will have a maximum of 5 sources even for your research paper. Now, one of the things that you have to be settled about very early on in the process is whether you can find enough secondary sources on your topic. Because if you can't find enough sources on your secondary sources on your topic, you might just have to change your topic, because this is not an essay, this is a research paper, and so you must have sources. Now, one of the ways to find sources is to use the library, because it's the storehouse of so many different sources that you can use, both physically in the library through the card catalog, and nowadays, even more importantly, on their databases and other sources that they have. I have put a link to the library on Blackboard, and you can use that to help find some of these sources. Or if you're on campus, you can go to the library and to the bibliographic instruction room, and they will be more than willing to help you. You must look for academic sources. That's why I'm directing you to the library, because there are so many sources on the internet, and some of them are not good sources at all. You have to evaluate your sources, and one way to evaluate it is to see what they are writing about, to see whether it's well written, the ideas agree with what other people are saying in the area, and so it's very important that we get good academic sources. We have to synthesize our sources. Synthesis just means draw from different sources to combine into a new whole. Okay. Now, one of the ways that we incorporate these the information from these secondary sources will be to use a summary. A summary is just a condensed version of an article or a passage or whatever you are getting, but you reduce it to its essence, what it's saying. A paraphrase is a rewriting of an original just to clarify, and so we don't paraphrase long things, and we put, like a summary, we put both of them in our own words. And then the other way that we like to use information is through direct quotation. Now, most students like direct quotations, but that's not the first thing that you should use. You should ask yourself whether really you need to quote what you are quoting. The big thing about using sources is the dangers of plagiarism. You want to avoid that by distinguishing your own words from those of your sources. And it's good if you are taking notes to note which belongs to you and which belongs to your sources. Now, once you've read your sources, you have an idea what you're going to write. You want to develop a working or a preliminary thesis. Now, this just shows you what you think you'll be writing, because remember that a research paper is not just all sources. You have your idea. It's your idea plus the sources which will give you a research paper. So develop your own ideas plus some of the things you have read to help you guide you write this thesis. I said preliminary because it may change as you go along, and then you can create an outline based on what you want to say in the paper. I give you this format for a formal outline, which consists of 3 levels, really. The first level, the Roman numeral, which is your main category, and then the secondary divisions. Normally, when you divide something, you have 2. So each category will have 2 entries. Your main, secondary point, your first supporting detail, your second supporting detail, your secondary point number 2, and then the same first supporting and second supporting details. Now, you can also make an informal outline if you want to, but when we are writing long papers, it helps for us to have a guide as to what we want to do. Now, then you're going to draft your paper by integrating all the summaries, the paraphrases, the quotations with your ideas into a paper. Once you finish, you are ready to edit your paper. Now, editing is looking at the big picture, the global picture. We want to focus on your purpose, your thesis, your ideas. Do you have enough support material? Are you analyzing, separating the material into parts and not just summarizing, interpreting what you are reading? That is determining the meaning behind what you are reading, and synthesizing, determining the relationship with other things, the other sources. Once you look at the big picture, then you'll be ready to do the editing, the grammar and spelling and all the other things. You want to make sure that you cite all your sources in your text. Failure to cite is what will get you into trouble. Citing is not a big problem. You're citing, the sources you cite must match your list of works cited, which is created at the end of your work. And it's not numbered, but it's put in alphabetical order. And after you've proofread your manuscript, you are ready to submit your final paper. All the best as you write this research paper.